Why, hello, and welcome to another edition of Talk of the Town. I just felt musical there for a couple minutes. I'm Egg, and I am joined by my boss, the head of media at Exmouth Town Football Club, Nathan. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, obviously it's been a really good run of things since we last spoke. After the Bashley game was the last one, the loss. So
Yeah. I think this is the first time we've done a podcast where we've actually won.
there you go.
Um, yes, so we'll get into all of that action in a minute. There is, as always, a mountain of news and everything that comes out of the club. So supporters player of the year votes are open. You can vote, I think, by contacting Cookie. There's some links on the MTC
Yes.
pages, details and stuff, isn't there?
Yeah, and I will tweet it out as well. Yeah, so I think it's emailing or texting or messaging. I think or speaking to him at a game as well.
Yeah, speaking to him. Me and Nate have had a conversation 3 or 4 times about who we're going to vote for. I was thinking about this earlier. Even though it's been a relatively shaky season, there's still 4 or 5 players you could think of that are worthy winners of it, which I don't know if that's normally the case for a team that's been fighting for its life at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's definitely in my head at least a couple standouts of people that you'd be weighing it up between. But I think I think probably testament to the form as well, because who's to say if someone has a really good sort of 3 months and helps keep us up, that might sway it a bit, even if perhaps the performances weren't there earlier in the season. So it's quite open, I think, this year.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It'd be interesting to see who finally bags at the end of the season, which does tie in nicely to the end of season. I've wrote myself some notes, so I'm not just ignoring people on the screen. Um, the end of season awards evening is on the 26th of April. It's £17.50 per person. There's a hog roast and music. Um, I'll be in attendance. I don't know if Nathan is. So I think you've got to see Elaine or some speak to people at the games, and they'll point you in the right direction if you want to put your name down for that. Because there ain't no pie like an Exmouth Town pie, as we all know. Uh, yeah. I think that's all the news. I don't know if there's anything else. Have you got anything else that's not football related?
No, no, and if there is anything with like music and stuff, because that's always something that seems to pop up every now and again, that it'll be out on the Twitter or in the Muff Town chat. So we'll always keep you updated with any of the news coming out in terms of outside of football events and footballing events as well.
Yeah, there's probably be some things that will pop up that we will relay to you on the Twitter and via other means. So on to the football. Last time we spoke, Nath, it was after the Bashley game, and we were slightly dejected. 7 days after that, I went to Bristol Manor Farm and I considered driving into oncoming traffic or driving or drinking bleach. Potentially the worst feeling I've had in the football ground in a long time. It didn't help the fact that when they scored, all their players and fans just ran towards me where I was. So I was kind of in amongst the middle of all their fans. But since then, things have slightly picked up a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been a great turnaround. I mean, it was so close in that Manor Farm game. I was in Liverpool at the time, a Bootle game, and even me, I was gutted, and I was nowhere near that game, and it still felt gutted because you could just tell they'd worked so hard, and just to get that sucker punch at the end wasn't right, but they've put it right, and 4 games unbeaten now. Is it 10, 7 or 10 points? I can't remember.
Hilly said it's 10 from a possible 12. I think that's what
Yeah,
he said.
yeah, I think that's right as well. So yeah, so I mean that's pretty much. We probably would have taken 7. We'd have taken 4. So the fact that we're here and we're now above Bolton, I know there's still so much to go. Obviously, we have to play them still, and there's certain games in hand and stuff. But we're level with Bolton. leveling games, sorry, and we're above them. So I don't think you can ask for any more than what we've got in these last 4 games. You can see they're trying so hard in each of those games. They've worked hard, so you can't ask for any more.
Yeah, we're all very aware that there was a slight foul on Righty in the Bristol Manor game before they scored. So if that entire incident has wound the players up so much that it keeps us up, that I will happily buy that referee a pint. Um, but
Yeah, that's
we'll move on from that day. 5-0 against Larkhall was 7 days later.
yeah.
Um, every goal was a carbon copy of the last one. Mike and Asa both jumped into the crowd. It was a great day. And then we went on and beat Bashley as well away from home. Um, was it 25 or 30? It was something
It
silly.
was a 25, I think, but it could have been more. But I think 25 was the number we said, or we
So
got given, which is
yeah,
incredible.
that's incredible. Yeah, on a Tuesday night, it's a long old trip. Um, Ben Steer's goal looked like an absolute cracker. There isn't any VAO footage of that game because Bashley haven't got one. Thank you to Nick for providing some clips from his phone. We put on the socials. And then I've lost tracks with Bashley. Then was it
It
who
was
did
the
we play
Bishop's
there?
Cleeve game. We had a postponed game against Westbury,
Yeah,
which was frustrating because I think momentum was right in our favour. And I mean, it is what it is. It's not their fault that it's snowing and it was crazy weather out there. But we'd have liked to have that game, and probably did have a knock-on effect for what was the next game, which was Bishop's Cleeve, which was the one all super frustrating. I think it was. We'll go into more depth into these fixtures, but that was one that you probably actually you look at, and I'm going to be a bit selfish and say actually probably should have won that one instead of some of the other ones that we have. So frustrating game, but still a point gained in the technical way.
I had car problems, so I didn't actually make it to that game. And when we scored, Nathan texted me, and I was like, I wish I was there. I watched the game back on the VEO footage. And I think it's probably testament to the players as well, because back in October, November time, in a game like that, we would have missed the penalty and then lost 1-0 to 9 men. So to go and get a point from that, I am of course joking. We'd have lost. We'd have got a point regardless. I missed that one. So that's looking like a very good point, I think, based on the results that have come
I think
since.
so. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
think
think
so.
yeah. We would have liked to have obviously got 3 points, but we got a point. And then yesterday, a hard fought victory over Melksham. Um, and a crazy game at Polton. Talking to a
Yes.
couple of the players at the end when the game was still going on, they were very adamant that it doesn't matter what anyone else does. They're just concentrating on what we can control and what they can control. Um, they were quite blunt, and I'm not going to use the words that they told me to do, but they were very adamant that they only care what's happening in our games. I don't know what your thoughts been on the whole turnaround, I suppose, isn't it really?
Yeah, I think it probably stems, from a tactical shift. For what we can see that we've switched to a diamond, and it just seems to get the best out of our players at the minute. I think Joe Belston, Mercenham has been really good in that DM role. Ethan now has come back and played really well. Cal was playing really well. I won't talk about that miss yesterday. And then obviously Aaron and Ben and Ace up front as well. It's been, you can see they're working really hard, and the defense have been solid too. So there's nothing, everything has just uplifted. Chris made some unbelievable saves, especially that one again yesterday that kept us in it right at the end. But I just think it's been a big turnaround. It's not been coming because there's after the Bashley game, I think we'd all be lying if we said, oh, we could feel a resurgence coming. But I think generally the tactical switch, sort of a bit of luck, a bit of fortune, possibly should have been 2-2 yesterday rather than 2-1 with their offside goal. But it's the luck we haven't had all season. So I guess it balances itself all out. I know you weren't particularly happy with it, but what can you do?
Yeah, and I think that it probably goes unnoticed by a lot of people, but the the lads they've been zoned in all season, but the nature they look wound up. They look incredibly. I don't want to swear, but they look like they've got a point to prove. They got a chip on their shoulder, and that they've not had a boot up the arse, but they look like they're wound up now, and I wouldn't want to go on a football pitch with them, to be honest. Another thing that a lot of people haven't noticed as well is that Shanks has stopped playing, not stopped playing, but he's not starting every game because he's about 1,000 years old. But he is kind of taken. It's fine. Shanks is fine. It's taken on a bit more. He's very vocal when he's on the bench, and a lot of people don't notice that. And he was assistant at Bristol Manor Farm, and I think full credit to him as well for using his experience and for being able to kind of take a step back from playing. I've butchered that appalling way of explaining that, and Shanks is going to rinse me. But there was a nice compliment in that. You've just got to put it together and find it, Shanks. Now that I've butchered that, have we got anything else that we want to add?
Not particularly. I mean, obviously, we had that frustrating game, Bishop's Cleeve. I think more so that came from us being put into a position that we haven't really been in all season, where the onus was on us to break a team down. We weren't trying to catch them out. We had a really good first half when it was 11v11, and then all of a sudden it should just swing completely in your favor. But I think, again, it was just a different situation, a different challenge they didn't quite adapt to, and it was a frustrating game. The Larkle game was unbelievable. I think that was the real boost. I'm you saying if we get one here, then we'll take them apart, and we did. And because I think a lot of people, including myself, were worried after what they did to us at their ground, that oh no, they're going to go, and they've got some big strikers, really good players, but they obviously didn't quite have the set piece defending lockdown, and we took advantage of that, which is nice in its own round, because it's an area where we haven't been particularly good all season, but we have the players that can do it. So that was a really, really good day, and just one that I think that has been the one that's boosted. And obviously not at Bashley, but unbelievable results again. It's bouncing back from what was a poor performance against them, and then it's putting it into a good spirited effort and coming out with a 3 point. So we can only look upwards now, because we can drag a few teams into it if we're on it, and we can just look after ourselves and stay in this league.
I think what's been pleasing for me as a supporter and a volunteer watching is that even the loss to Manor Farm, every goal has been different, apart from the Larkle game. But even those, if you take those out of isolation, every goal has been has either been a tap in, or it's been an absolute scream, or it's been a headed effort, or it's been a penalty that's been saved and then put back in again for a goal. It's different kind of goals, and that's been pleasing for me to see as well when I've been watching the games. Yeah, we can still drag other teams into it. The pressure isn't on us. The pressure is now on the teams around us. We've, as we said in the last podcast, as supporters and volunteers, just go and enjoy the rest of the season. The lads, I think, are so wound up that I think that they, if it was mathematically possible, they would probably go on a playoff charge at the minute if they could. So I think that we said there was brighter days ahead, and I think that those brighter days are just around the corner. Even if I'm saying the most grumpy, pessimistic football supporter in all of the land, then please believe us. Also, the results did coincide with three things. Nathan had a haircut, I bought a new hat, and Hilly had a touchline ban. So take of that what you will. Right. While we're on the laughs and the jokes, we did interview Rory last podcast. At the end of that interview, we decided that it was probably time to start doing some stuff with the players, a bit of lighthearted content, because that's what we're all here for. We're all here for enjoyment, as Hilly says in the games. So we wanted to know more about the teammates and the guys in the squad. So we asked Rory to start with, and then yesterday only Tom Bath volunteered. Make of that what you will. So we'll play that now. The audio on the Tom Bath one is pretty bad. I apologize. It was in the clubhouse, and the visuals aren't great because he's quite a tall gentleman, and my tripod wouldn't go as high. So we'll play that now. Rory first, and then Tom Bath afterwards. There is a little section in between. So,
who's the best dressed?
Cool. Keeping it simple, I would actually go with Sparky, just because you know what you're going to get from him. A pair of jeans and a jumper every time you're out. No matter what, it's a jumper. So I'll go with Sparks.
Who's the worst dressed?
Shit. there's two. I'd go with Dino. He likes to think he dresses nice, but I've seen him in leather, I've seen him in double denim, so he's up there. But I'd also go with Louis. Some of the stuff he wears is about 10 sizes too big. So yeah, I'd go with Louis as well. It's one of them.
Who's the first on the dance floor?
Depends on how many beers you've had. Dino's quite a confident lad. Shanks is a good mover, does a bit for an old guy. But yeah, I'd go Dino.
Out of the staff, who's the most likely to give you a telling off?
Now I'd say Piercy. He's a bit ruthless, old-fashioned. Yeah, come up against him when he is a player, know what he's like from a player. I've known him for a while, and if you do something that he doesn't like, he'll let you know.
Who's got the worst music taste?
Ben Steer. All he does is Christmas.
Oh, okay. Who is the worst drinker? You can't handle their drink?
I think the boys are pretty good, to be fair. I've had a few nights where I've had a few stingers where I definitely think I should slow down, but just keep going. Yeah, I think all the boys are pretty good, to be fair. I couldn't single anyone out to be like a bad drinker.
Who's the smartest?
Chris Wright. Yeah, I say he knows his roofing.
Who's the least intelligent?
Louis. I'd go Louis. He's a light bulb shy of a few chandeliers, he is, yeah.
Who would you most like to be stuck on a desert island with?
Entertainment value, I'd go Righty. Brain someone to keep you safe and fucking get you home. Christ. Someone sensible in our team, there's not many.
And who would be the worst?
Louis. I just don't think he'd know what to do with himself.
Who is the worst driver?
Worst driver? I say Sparky. He's had a licence since he was 18. He's 30 odd now, 32 maybe. And he hasn't drove a car for 10 years, whereas his missus has just passed the test and given him driving lessons.
And last but not least, who's most likely to be booked for dissent?
I say me, but I'm allowed to speak to referees whether they like what I say or not. Maybe not, so I'll have to jump for Ben Steer. He loves to cry when he don't get his own way.
Okay, thank you. Start with best dressed.
Best dressed, other than myself. I haven't really seen many, but I would say Aaron Denny's got a bet, I reckon. Aaron Denny's got a bet.
And worst dressed?
A-side.
Who would be the first one to dance for?
Slates.
Who gives the biggest telling off out of all the staff?
Bitsy.
Who's the dressing room DJ?
Was Louis Morrison, but Boust.
Who's got the worst music taste?
Probably myself.
What sort of stuff?
A bit of everything really, but old school noughties.
Who's the biggest lightweight?
Dave Rowe.
Who's the smartest?
There's a few teachers. Steery, Robbie Powell.
Who's the least intelligent?
Oh, there's a few. There's a few. You got Louis, Ace. Probably it's got to be Ace. It's got to be Ace.
Who would be the best to be stuck on a desert island with?
The best. I reckon Righty. He made me laugh.
And who would be the worst?
Shanks.
And finally, who would be most likely to be booked for dissent?
Louis Morrison all day.
Brilliant, thank you.
Okay, Nath. So, what were your thoughts on the revelations during those two interviews?
Well, no, I was surprised. I was surprised with some of the answers. Just off impressions of what being around the club for a bit of time now. What he'd say, I was surprised Louis Morrison got it as much from Dave as he did. But look, I don't know that well, so maybe he was right on all of those. And but good on Tom Bath for taking some of it for himself and giving himself worse music taste. So we appreciate, a bit of humbleness. And sometimes you got to admit, if you've got stinkers, you've got stinkers. So you have to admit that. But yeah, no, I think I look forward to doing more, to be honest, because they're always fun to film.
What was concerning for me was that it sounds like me and Tom Bath have kind of got a similar taste in music. So cheers, Tom. So I can't remember all the questions, but a lot of the players didn't put themselves forward for whatever reason. So me and Nate are gonna answer some of the questions ourselves, and then we're gonna open it up to fellow supporters. And if the players don't like the results, then we have a camera at every home game. Come find us. So, what was the desert island one? Who would you like to be stuck on
So
desert island?
who would you most? So I'll ask you because I do have the questions here.
Brilliant.
So I'll ask you, Egg, you give me your ones. I'll say so. We'll go with three. We'll go with best to be stuck on a desert island with.
Everyone says righty, so I'm probably going to say righty because I think he's a roofer, isn't he? So he could build us a shelter.
And then who would you least like to be stuck with?
Probably Stero, because I reckon me and Stero probably would just wind each other up after a couple hours.
And then we'll go last but not least. It's a comment. It used to be, to be fair, it's not actually happened too much in this sort of good run. So probably a good thing. But who is most likely to be booked for descent?
Everyone. There isn't a person at Exmouth Town Football Club that hasn't got the ability, I think, at some point to not be booked. I'm gonna say it's Stero. I think Ace maybe's got it in his locker.
I think Louis. I would have gone Louis than that, just because I think he has pretty much every game he's been booked. He's been booked quite a lot.
Yeah, but
in fairness
to him, that corner flag at Evesham away did deserve it.
But there's the three. If you guys want to let us know what you think as well, it goes in the Mufftown chat. You can give us your answers to those three questions, and also in the comment section on YouTube if that's open. I'm not sure if it is, but definitely on the Mufftown chat, let us know.
Or you just come tell us out.
Yeah.
Games or away games, and we'll relay them on this podcast. We're also going to try and find some players from past teams as well at games, and we'll get them on the pod, and they can kind of relay other teammates they would have had. But there is a Hilly and Rolo one to come out as well, where they had to comment on each other. We're going to keep that for the summer, I think, because that one's a good one. So now back onto the pitch. It does jump around a bit. Apologies. So we have a few remaining, well, not a few games. We have some massive games coming up, starting Tuesday at Bideford.
Yes.
Bideford their ground is a bit of a fortress. I don't think they've lost that many at home this season from recollection. And they did beat us at home as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think it was 1-0. They've never been particularly free scoring games against Bideford, if I remember correctly. I think we've had some pretty boring games with them, to be honest. And last time we was there, we got a good point. I remember that. I want to say it was around Boxing Day around that time.
Yeah.
And that was a really positive point at the time. I think their form has sort of dipped a bit since before, when it looked like they was really charging towards promotion. So it'll be an interesting game. We're sort of probably catching them at a good time. But it comes down to their performance, 90 minutes, and hopefully we can be the better side. I know it's probably quite a friendly rivalry on the touchline between Joyce and Hill and Kevin Hill. I don't know what I said last name, but it's probably going to be a friendly. They'll want to get the win against each other, so hopefully that will be a fun game and hopefully some goals maybe.
Yeah, I know Hilly always speaks about Joycey in glowing terms, but I know there'll be a bit of banter between the two of them. This has become a feature that I never thought it would happen on this podcast. But traffic news. The link road to Barnstable, if anybody's going via Junction 27 and the North Devon Link Road, is closed from the Lanky roundabout to North Allerton from 8 p.m. So you'll have to go up via Lanky, Swimbridge, and then it brings you South Molton and it brings you out the other side. So if you're going to go to Barnstable, please leave plenty of time on the way back. But if you're going to come that way, please remember there is also traffic lights, temporary traffic lights in Barnstable. If you're going through the rush hour, leave plenty of time. I think that's the only traffic news I've got.
Yeah, I don't know for the Bemerton Heath game if you've got anything, because that's obviously quite the distance. But that's our next Saturday one after that, so be an interesting game. I don't know if the minibus is sold, but if you want to, I don't know if it's sold out, but I know that it's in demand. It's non-league day, I think, so that's obviously a big day for lots of people. They want to come out and support us, and it's going to be a long trip, but hopefully worth your while. And regardless, I think it's always a pretty good time on an away day, regardless of the football, because your Boros people won't be coming back. So I think I think it speaks for itself. So if you do want to get involved with that, I think Adrian's the guy to go to. Or just on the Muff Town chat, you probably have to speak to him directly if you do want to get a place. Same for Mousel on the first bank holiday. So that's going to be again a long trip, even though it seems like it should probably be a bit closer. It's not. Again, tricky game where hopefully we can upset them a little bit and get a really big win.
Yeah, I don't know about the Birmingham Heath minibus, but the Mousel one leaves at 10:30 and it's £20. So go.
I think it might be the same for Bemerton as well.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't know if Bemerton's sold out. Is what the deal with that one is. If their space is still available, go see Sam. He'll give you all the details. I would assume there's probably going to be a bus running to Cribs. I think that's our final away game.
Yes, yeah, obviously, yeah, that will be our final away game, as we were meant to play Hamworthy last game of the season, but they're not here to play that one. So yeah, so that'll be that one. We've also got Willand on the 30th. I sort of left my mind because I'm not at that one, but that again, that's going to be a good game. Hopefully, we can get a good result there.
Yeah, we got Willand, Bank Holiday Monday, Mousel, Froome at home the weekend after, Cribs away, Bolton at home.
And that's then it's awards night. But the Bolton home game, I mean, that's going to hopefully it will be a meaningless game because we'll have already survived. But I think maybe from the media perspective, selfishly, I'm kind of hoping there's something on it. But that is going to be big regardless, because I think it's going to have an effect on their season most likely. Hopefully, no effect on ours, but I think that is one, and we're also going to play a little bit of a role in the promotion hunt as well in terms of Froome and Cribs coming up. So there's big games with big situations for both teams. So and they're the best games because there's that nervousness, there's that tenseness, and everyone's there wanting a result. You really start. I think the atmosphere is actually got a lot better recently in terms of it. Not that it was really bad, but you can just tell everyone is so behind everyone. I think Chris Wright made a catch from a cross, and everyone just cheering his name, shouting his name. It's the stuff that might have been missing earlier in the season. So I mean, it's been unbelievable. Maybe no drums needed, but we're doing well with the atmosphere. It's been really good and made it much more fun. Obviously the wins help that too.
One of the goals for Larkhall, I was walking around the other end of the ground because I like to film bits from our goal as well sometimes. And the noise at the end of the ground, our end of the ground, where there was no one stood, the noise when the ball went in was something I like the Premier League. And I've got it on video, I'm going to put it up towards the end of the season, but the noise was like nothing I've heard in a long, long time. I think it was the third or the fourth goal, so that probably did help matters. But yeah, I think the support is definitely still there. We said that it was still positive. It would have been easy for everyone to start fighting and turning on each other. It's even more important now because the lads have got themselves and us into this position to survive. They now need the support even more. I know that's a silly thing to say, but they need us to will them on, to cheer, to just be positive. Everyone is positive anyway, but to just back them. They looked absolutely shattered yesterday when they came off the pitch. I dread to think how far some of them had run. Ace looked like he'd run through brick walls. He could barely ask for a pint when he came past me when he was walking off the pitch. So yeah, the lads are giving everything. So if you've got friends that are football fans and they've got a free Saturday, bring them to the games, shout, ball. If you've got a free Saturday and we're playing away, get on the minibus. If the minibus is sold out, try and find some people to go with, because this is going to be these runs of games are going to be massive, even more important than the last 5 or 6 we played. I think that's kind of everything, really, isn't it? There's not really any of the games to come up. There is some youth team news as well. I was scrolling through socials and see that. The under-18s beat Alphington today 2-1, and the under-13s have made to the cup final. They also beat Alphington 2-1. So congratulations to all those guys. That's our future of our football club. I think it's the youth teams or I think it's someone connected to them. Apologies if that's not correct. I'm holding a quiz night in the clubhouse on the 12th of April at 7:30 for an 8 o'clock start, £5 per person, and it's to raise money for brain tumor support. So please go support that. It's a great cause. And I'm assuming the bar and everything will be open. Yeah, bright days are here.
Yeah.
That was great
Right,
podcast. That was great podcasting.
I thought you was wrapping up. But no, it's been fantastic. Let's keep going. As you say, the boys need to support more than ever. Now we're out of it. It's not about just we're safe now because we're not one bad result and we swing back down. So we got to keep going. We'll keep working in terms of pushing the club out. And yeah, thank you guys for all the support as well, because we've received many really really nice comments in person and online about this. So we really appreciate that. It's been really nice.
Yeah, thank you for all of the support you've coming up to me and Nathan saying about the podcast. The whole point is to give you guys that matter, the supporters and our fellow volunteers, the information and to promote everything that you guys do. I know I keep saying it as a joke, but we just turn up on a Saturday and ponce about with phones and cameras and stuff, but it's you guys that okay, Nathan does proper work. I could see the look on his face. I turn up.
I was gonna say I don't always turn up every Saturday. I'm here sometime.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. You guys do all the hard work in it. Thank you so much for all you guys that are there working on the pitch, in the tee hut. I know Hilly was carting off all the dirty kit he had to wash. The guys that clean the changing rooms and everything, like, you guys are amazing. So we just want to increase your exposure and the exposure of the football club that I know that I genuinely love, and I think that Nate's got a similar sort of love for now. So yeah. We shall see you. I shall see you at Bideford on Tuesday night. Nathan won't. Nathan will see you in Salisbury on Saturday. I won't.
And then they'll see you at Willand.
They'll see me at Willand. Right. Going larger topic, me and Nath both podcast and do content for a media company, Niche Sports. Go give it some love and appreciation. Nathan is going to, were you going to London?
London, yeah, and then Prague in June.
Yeah, so he's going to London and Prague for an MMA event. I do British basketball and I get to go to a leisure centre in Southampton. Anyway, that's enough of that.
He chose it.
That's enough of that. We up the town, have a good one, and we shall see you all at the upcoming games. Brighter days are coming. The Great Escape is on, and one almighty party and hangover the day after is just around the corner, guys. Keep the faith, up the town.